I spent 1 month in Guadalajara. Today I'm going to share with you what I loved, what I wish I had done differently, and most importantly, how much I spent, because that was surprising even for me. It is another beautiful morning in Guadalajara, but sadly it's my last one. After 1 month, in a couple of hours, we're about to get on a bus and go to our next destination. And let me tell you, this is the first time I've left a city in Mexico where I wasn't ready to go. We came here for initially 4 nights, and then we kept just extending. I wish we had actually just decided to stay here a month, because when we were in Puerto Vallarta, so many people said to us, it's amazing. Like, Mexicans were literally swooning over it, saying it was beautiful, the food was great, it was just kind of the perfect city. And I think they were right. Because we are sad to leave, but you can't stay somewhere forever. Well, at least we can't at the moment. And so this 1 month wrap up will be very different than the ones I've done in Thailand, in Puebla, in Puerto Vallarta, because Guadalajara, we did not intend to just stay 1 month. We didn't book an apartment. But I still want to give you all of the costs, the things that we spent, because I think we learned a lot, we made some good decisions, and it might benefit us the next time we come. Now, to give you a little bit of background if you're new to my channel, so I'm Ayngelina, Y is silent in my name, and I run a website called Bacon is Magic. It's all about traditional food around the world and international recipes, so if you like to eat around the world, you are in the right place. I have been traveling the world for 15 years, since 2010. I bought a ticket to Mexico and traveled overland from Mexico to Argentina by myself. I am not Latina. When I arrived in Mexico in 2010, no smartphones, no Google Translate, I didn't speak any Spanish. So that was an interesting one. But I quickly fell in love with Latin America. I traveled it for 10 years. COVID came, and I decided that I would actually go to Asia. So I've been in Asia for the last 3 years with my boyfriend Alan, who is from Indonesia. But I was really missing Latin America so much. I said, okay, this is the moment. We're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you Mexico because it's fantastic. But let's go to places that I've never been, because this country is so diverse. And I knew as we traveled to Puebla, Oaxaca, Puerto Vallarta, all the little towns in between, I knew he would fall in love as well, and he has. But we are in our 40s and we're not ready to settle down. I'm definitely not retiring in Canada, but I also wonder, where would I retire? And I've always thought of it as being Mexico. Now, being with someone who's Indonesian, we're probably going to have to split half the year in Asia, half the year in the Americas, but Mexico is at the top of my list. And at the top of Mexico could be very well Guadalajara. Let me tell you what I love about this city. Hola, buenos días. Muy bien, gracias. All right, this is a perfect example of my reason for loving Guadalajara, and that is, it is the 3rd largest city in Mexico. It was actually the 2nd up until 2020 when Monterrey beat it. But it has a small city feeling, it has small city hospitality. It's a city of neighborhoods. It really reminds me of when I lived in Toronto. Toronto is a gigantic city, but it's a city of neighborhoods. So you kind of have everything you need in your own neighborhood, and the people are so nice, have been so welcoming. Now, I've been told that Tapatios, or people from Guadalajara, love Asian culture. And so when they met Alan, they were so interested in him. And we just felt that this warm Mexican hospitality that you know when you come visit this country, you know, really existed in Guadalajara. Because they say Guadalajara is Mexico. All of the things that we love about it are in the city. And I can see why that is true, because that's how I feel about the city. My next point was actually that Guadalajara really feels like a progressive city in many ways. One of the first ways is transportation, and it's fantastic here. There are bike lanes here, and there's also this, which is Bici. So I've been told it's 500 pesos for the year. They have these stands all over the city, and you can pretty much ride your bike everywhere. In addition to Bici and the bike lanes, on Sundays, I think it's called RecreActiva, which basically means it's the car-free Sunday, where they shut down some of the streets for a number of hours, and you see people out. They are walking, they're running, they're on rollerblades, wheelchairs. Like, if you want to take over the street, you can do it. I love that part about it. But it's not just recreation that is progressive. There seems to be a lot of visible support for LGBTQ rights and also visibility of same-sex couples. You see a lot of graffiti that is socially aware, supporting a number of things from Palestine to veganism. And at least here, we're staying in Colonia Americana. You can see there are a lot of young people. Seems to be a lot of entrepreneurs. Guadalajara is known to have one of the best universities. And there just seems to be an energy here which is relaxing, energetic, if I can explain that. It's just very positive, socially aware, and active. Now you might be thinking, hey, you're out by yourself, walking the streets, camera in one hand, phone in the other. Is it safe in Guadalajara? And I would say we've actually felt very safe here. So we've been told that violent crime is not common if you're not related to some kind of crime activity, but also to be very aware of your phones, because usually people get pickpocketed, or if they're walking down the street, not seeing who's around them, somebody on a bike may snatch their phone. That is very common in Asia as well, and so that's something that we are always looking out for anyway. Here in Colonia Americana, we are never out late at night. I'm here during the day, and I do feel safe right now with my camera. I walk on streets where there are other people, and we haven't had a problem. Now, we don't spend all of our time in Colonia Americana. So we do actually go out to the markets, to the tianguis. We've spent some time in some neighborhoods which are not as affluent as this, but despite what is happening on the streets, we still felt very comfortable. Lots of people out. And to be honest, just because you don't have a lot of money does not mean you're gonna rob someone. We just haven't had a situation yet that would change your mind. And I saved the best for last, that is the food. Guadalajara has fantastic food. I don't know what the history was like. I think Mexico City gets all of the props, but Guadalajara has a traditional food scene that is amazing. It's everywhere, it's affordable. I have a video about Guadalajara Food, 5 things that you should try. They were all fantastic. It is meat heavy, but the food scene does have, as I mentioned, a lot of vegetarian options now. And what was interesting was in Puerto Vallarta, Alan got sick. And he got sick, the last thing he ate was beef tongue. And so he didn't want to eat any beef. He needed to take a break. He also doesn't eat pork. So that left chicken, and thankfully there's so much seafood in Guadalajara. So we found some great seafood options for him so that he was not eating chicken at every meal. Now, Guadalajara is not perfect. There are some things that we don't love about it, but we really had to think about it. Last night I said to Alan, what is something you don't like about here? And he really thought and thought and thought, and I had to really think about things too. If it's your first time to Mexico, you'll probably notice a lot of things. Dogs here are loud. Motorcycles here are loud. Depending on where you are, people honk way too much. It's unnecessary. And when the bus honks, it startles you. That has happened to us many times. But because we travel so much, we're actually kind of used to it, and it doesn't really bother us. I will say this, public transportation here is very, very good. You know, getting on the bus, the electric cars, streetcars. Alan said, he was like, wow, these are very new, very nice. They have yellow seats. that are dedicated to the elderly or to people who need a little bit of extra help. And for the most part, the main routes run very often, but it's not quite perfect for a city that is this sprawling. I would love to see more stops on the metro line. I think there's 7 or 8. And then some of the buses, I don't know, we've just shown up using the app Move It, I'll put it right there, or Google Maps, and the bus doesn't come for 20 minutes, even though it says it's supposed to come for 5. I think that happens a lot of times on Sundays with some of these roads being shut down. Some things that we wanted to go to that are farther out, we needed to take connections, so one bus to another. And in some cases, we just didn't want to wait for the second bus, so we took an Uber. But the bus is only 10 pesos, and the Ubers are actually pretty affordable here. Now the next thing came from Alan, and it's very picky, and I think it is indicative of all of Mexican culture, although it should change probably in Mexico City. In Asia, it's very common to go to like a little local place, like small mom and pop shop around 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and you can just have a cold drink. So in Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, we don't go out to the bars, but a lot of times we'll go to like some little outdoor spot that just serves juice or an iced tea or something like that. And it's just a nice way to get out for the night, chat, be on our phones, you know, the usual. But Mexico and Guadalajara, we have not found a place that has that yet. And I think it's because, understandably, a lot of the mom and pop shops, the local places, they close. And then nighttime is for bars. Alan doesn't drink, although he does really like Modelo Zero. So that doesn't really exist for us. Santa Tere, the neighborhood which we border on, is where we spend most of our time. It shuts at 7. If we want to go somewhere, we need to go to a bar or need to go down to Chapultepec, which is not really our vibe. So if I had to do it again, the next time I come here, I actually would look for a neighborhood that is in Colonia Americana, close to Santa Tere, but also has a night presence. There are places, we've walked places that have little cafes and places, coffee shops, pastry shops that do have things going on at night. And so I would just pick a different section of Colonia Americana, but I would stay close to Santa Tere because it has the best food. Right here, I'm going to put a QR code to the blog post about this video so that you can have everything written down. You don't have to take notes while you're watching this. Accommodation. This was a little bit unusual. Unlike previous places, we did not stay somewhere for 1 month. Instead, first we stayed in a place for 4 nights. Then we went to Mazamitla, Ajijic, Chapala for 4 nights. And then we spent the rest of the time here. So in total, we spent $780 for accommodation, which I think is pretty good. If we had stayed somewhere rented for an entire month, we would have gotten the discount for a month rate. But Casa Artemisia was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. So I think in the end, I'm happy seeing the different parts of Guadalajara. Well, the different parts of Colonia Americana, because we stayed in this neighborhood the whole time. Second was transportation. It was $150, and that is definitely elevated because we took buses to Mazamitla, Ajijic, Chapala. So we spent $92 on that, and the remainder on local transportation. $150 for miscellaneous. Now we've been traveling for 5 months in Mexico, so it's like toiletries, different things that we needed. We bought a lot of things on this street that we didn't get receipts for. I keep receipts of everything, and usually if I don't get a receipt, I write it on my phone because I keep a master Excel sheet of how much I've spent for the year for taxes. But $150 was just a lot of different things that are just related to living, basically. $150 for travel insurance, which we used in Puerto Vallarta. I highly recommend travel insurance in Mexico. I'll put mine right here. You need travel insurance in Mexico. So they do have a public system, but it is very expensive. We spent almost 100,000 Mexican pesos in 12 hours in Puerto Vallarta. So that was a good lesson for us. Do not come here. If you don't have a credit card, you don't have travel insurance, a lot of the hospitals won't even let you in.
And the second largest cost was food, which was $500, which I think is pretty great because Guadalajara has so many great cafes that we actually went and got coffee too much. A lot of people spend money on alcohol. We spend money on nice coffee shops. But where we stayed had a really great large kitchen, and so we didn't eat out for breakfast, which was fantastic. In Mexico, you can get Greek yogurt and cottage cheese and eggs. We shopped at Soriana, at the market, at the small tiendas around here. Great produce, great quality, and so we tried to eat in as much as we could, but also we wanted to try Guadalajara food, and so we ate at the Santa Tere market a lot, and we had a favorite seafood place that we ate at a lot. And so I would say that on the whole, for one person, expect to spend 100 pesos. If you're going out to eat at the market, you get a drink, but really big portion sizes here. So we balanced it out by going out, staying in, $500 US. We did not try to stay on a budget. That was just kind of what we ended up spending in the end. Now, the most important thing, would I come back to Guadalajara? Do I see a future here that we should explore? And that is a resounding yes. We loved it here. We loved that it was a real Mexican city because not a lot of people, well, actually a lot of people speak English, but if you speak Spanish to them, they'll continue in Spanish. And Alan learned so much Spanish. I'm shocked at how much he picked up just by being in a culture where everyone speaks Spanish all the time and there's not English everywhere. So that is the kind of place that I want to live, and he really took to it. People were so nice and friendly. He felt good about it. He liked the food options, and I mean, this neighborhood, we really, really enjoyed it. Santa Tere, honestly, made it for me. We won't be able to stay in there unless we rented longer term, but Guadalajara, I don't know why more people are not talking about this city because it's really fantastic. In the next video, today we're taking a bus to Guanajuato. That will be very interesting. So we're heading back into more touristy, maybe gentrified cities, but everyone here says that Guanajuato is amazing, that it's beautiful, and that we'll love it. So I feel like when a lot of Mexicans tell you that you're gonna love something, at least for me, I think I'm gonna love it. But I guess we'll find out. See you in the next video.